Back, time for our Ask the Attorney segment. Personal injury attorney Stewart Vance from the Vance Law Firm in studio, ready to answer your legal questions live on air. As always, we tell our viewers you are a personal injury attorney. So what does that mean?
One of these days I'm going to ask you to say it because you hear it every week. We handle cases where people have been injured by no fault of their own, whether that's the negligence of someone else, the reckless behavior of someone else, anything that you know you didn't cause it, but you now have an injury, it's worth calling us and asking about it.
I do ask you that every week, but you cover so many things. It's like this giant umbrella, and there's so much that falls underneath it. Most people think of slip and falls, or they think of car accidents. We usually touch base on this, but you cover incidents that happen in nursing homes.
Right. I mean, really, any crazy thing you can think of where someone sustained an injury, minor or catastrophic, it's worth calling about, because I've been doing this, gosh, almost 30 years, and just when I think I've heard or seen it all, we get another person calling in or another fact pattern that I go, oh my gosh, you can't even make some of this stuff up, and it's absolutely true. So it's always where, the easiest answer is call us, walk us through what happened to you or your loved one, and we can give you some guidance that hopefully will assist you in your time of need.
We talk about deer on the road a lot. That's personal injury. I think one I asked you about a few weeks ago, there was a mattress on I-65 that we avoided, but that also falls under personal injury as well, even if maybe my car was damaged in that.
Yeah, we had a caller last week that the damage to the vehicle was their main concern. Then you get into the weeds of what policies would cover, who has a policy that's valid. There are a lot of people that should have policies, insurance policies that are valid, but they don't. The state requires, in Alabama, where we live, it requires every driver must have a policy with at least $25,000 worth of liability coverage. Liability coverage is what you have that covers someone else if you hurt them. Liability does nothing for you other than if you hurt someone and they sued you, that's what pays it. You don't pay it, your insurance policy pays it. If you get hurt and you were not, and someone else was at fault, if they don't have the proper coverage, and oh my gosh, that happens so often in our state. People get their proof of insurance, get their license or permit, and then they let it go. They don't pay the premiums, and now they don't have the coverage. They hit you, you get hurt, oh my gosh, what do I do?
What do we do?
Right, and so many people don't even have health insurance. So if you have health insurance, that's just part of the help. If you don't have it, now what do? I need some treatment. There's a part of your policy we talk about often in our state called underinsured motorist or uninsured motorist. It's the same policy, it just means two different things. If somebody that doesn't have insurance, they're uninsured. So now it's uninsured motorist protection. Or if they have 25, it doesn't take much of an injury or medical treatment to exceed $25,000, unfortunately these days. And so if your injuries and treatment is over $25,000, even if they have it, it's not enough. So now they're underinsured, and that's what a part of your policy should cover as well. So it's important that you have that part of your policy. Please, please, please never waive that. I hear people that go in and say, we want the cheapest insurance that we can get to be in conformity with what the state requires. Well, some companies out there will say, okay, well, you can get liability and you sign this waiver.
Saying that you're aware that
you're getting rid of your UM. They don't really explain it that well. Hey, just sign here, you're getting the cheapest insurance. Now you've signed away really protection that could cover you and your family. So be wary of that. And so again, any questions, call us, because we've seen a lot and we can usually guide you in the right direction.
Especially, I hate to call out the young people, but young people, they think they're invincible. They are maybe living in their first apartment, they have their first car, they're trying to save wherever they can. They know they need insurance, so they make that phone call and they say, I want the cheapest thing possible.
That's exactly right.
And they don't realize until something happens that they need it.
Well, and especially nowadays, that's a great segue into a lot of insurance companies have their app, have an app that you can renew your policy, you can buy your policy, and you just keep clicking on through.
You just say renew.
That's right. And sometimes in those policies, I want the least expensive or whatever it might be, you are waiving the uninsured motorist protection
without even knowing.
Exactly, and that's just terrible, and you don't find out until
something
when
happens.
You need it. Yeah, and that's a terrible place and time to find out.
We have a caller on the line, Chase from Montgomery. Chase, what's your question?
Hello?
What's your question?
Yeah, okay. I was regarding about getting pulled over by a law enforcement officer and refusing to take the breathalyzer test because I had one several years ago. I had not been drinking, and it showed that I was drinking. So my attorney told me not to take the test again, so that gave them evidence. I was just wondering what's the consequences for not taking the test if you don't take that. So.
Chase, I'm sorry that you've been through that a time or two. That's not my area of expertise because that's criminal law, but what I understand to be the case is that you can refuse to take it, but if that is then grounds for them to arrest you and book you and take you to jail. I have friends that do that type of work and fight those kinds of cases for DUIs and whatnot, and if you certainly can refuse, and I think that's probably the wise move, but just know that you're going to be probably taken downtown. And then be prepared for that. And then you're going to have to get bailed out and somebody pick you up, and it could be a longer ordeal, but there's a better chance to get that resolved down the road than what I think the problems and errors that can occur if you do the test and you do blow. And like he said, if it was a false positive, I don't know how often that occurs. Again, that's not my area of practice. But I would say there are lots of good lawyers in our area that do criminal work. And so if you refuse to do it, once you get out of jail, I would make a phone call.
Make sure you have a number saved.
That's exactly right.
All right, Chase, thanks for calling. Stewart, we're going to get to more of those questions right after we check in with Nick for weather.